Welcome to episode 56 of Beyond Social Media, and after a few technical hiccups, it appears we are on air. So I apologize for the delay, but we are broadcasting this week. I am David Erickson, your co-host. You can find me at e-strategyblog.com, on Twitter at @DErickson, and I am with BL Ochman, my co-host. BL you can find at whatsnextblog.com, at maximum-plus.com for all things Google+. You can find her on Twitter at What's Next and on Ad Age as well, where she writes a column. And we have the best, we have the worst, we have shiny new stuff, and we wrap it up with the daily numbers as usual. We start with the worst. And we had a big worst story today. Both you and I had it in the show notes. BL, take it away. What is the worst story of the week?
Worst story of the week is the way I set up the show. Boy, did I screw that up. I'll never do it that way again. I'm going to go back to what I've been doing all along instead of trying something different. Okay. The worst thing of the week was customer service by Comcast. Good Lord. This poor man calls up Comcast. 4 million people have watched it. You've probably watched it, listened to it also. And he says, I want to cancel my service. And the guy keeps him on the phone for like 20 minutes going, well, why would you want to cancel your service? Our service is the best on the planet. I don't understand. We have the best of everything. And the guy says, I just want to cancel the service. And he says, but, you know, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to stay with Comcast. What's wrong with you? And apparently what happened, from what I've read since, is that the employees at Comcast, unfortunately, and at a lot of other places, get paid to retain customers. So he gets more money because that is the corporate policy. That was verified on both Reddit and Slate, that if you let them go, you know, you lose some money. So, I mean, it got to the point of absurdity. And, you know, when it comes to human interactions, people have to act like humans. And that's not what was happening. So, you know, is it possible for a big company to have great customer service? Ask Zappos. They don't, you know, they're there 24/7. They never keep you on hold for more than 20 seconds. I can tell you from personal experience, no matter what problem you have, they're empowered to solve it. They'll give you money. They'll do anything to help you. Call LL Bean. You know, tell them that you bought a pair of pants last year and they fell apart after you washed them 40 times, and they'll say, we're really sorry. Let's do something about that. I was in Staples the other day, and human beings treated me kindly because that's their policy. So Comcast said, we're sorry, you know, this is nothing that we would ever do. And it was too little, too late. And so then I see that Ranker.com, which produces crowdsourced answers to opinion-based questions, asked what are the most hated companies. 14,000 people voted. Which ones have the worst customer service? Top was my favorite, Time Warner Cable, who I left a long time ago, followed by AT&T, second worst for sure. Followed by Bank of America, worst bank in America, followed by Walmart, sorry Dave, followed by American Airlines, and then Comcast is only number 6. And, you know, so there are worse than that. That's the really scary part.
Well, I mean, Comcast, cable companies routinely make the tops of those lists of worst customer service lists. It is their policy, and it should be their policy, I think, to try and retain customers as best they can. It is, you know, more expensive to reacquire a customer after you've lost them than it is to retain them in the first place. And how they usually do this, and I've been through this process, is they find ways to lower your costs and increase your services. That's great. I love that. You know, I'd rather pay less and get more. But when
in this case, that's not what the guy was doing. He was just saying, why would you want to leave the best company in the world? We're so great. What's wrong with you? And the guy was very calm, and he was saying, look, could you just cancel my service? And he just wouldn't do it. He just would not do it.
When it's clear that the customer is dead set on canceling their service, and you don't argue with people, you just, you know, I mean, cut your losses and let them go. Otherwise, it goes viral, and millions of people listen to the 8-minute telephone call where you're haranguing the customer.
Unbelievable, seriously. So the other thing that I think is quite horrible that happened this week is that Amazon's testing a Kindle service that will cost $9.99 a month for an unlimited number of ebooks. And it will offer access to 600,000 titles. And they've been talking about this for a couple of months. And, you know, there's been a pricing dispute going on between Amazon and Hachette about Amazon's role in publishing. And you know, basically what's at stake is whether Amazon is going to be able to bully publishers into eventual non-existence. And that's a statement from the John Green, whose book The Fault in Our Stars, which was not published by Hachette, is currently #1 on Amazon. And Amazon is really bullying. They're subjecting a lot of books that are published by Hachette to artificial purchase delays. So books that you could have gotten with next-day delivery, now they take 2 to 5 weeks to ship. Some titles don't come up in search, and upcoming Hachette books like J.K. Rowling and Robert Galbraith mysteries, they're not coming up. So Hachette is going to sell fewer books. But here's the issue. Amazon is the single biggest book retailer in America. They sell 41% of all the new books that are sold, not just Hachette books, all books. So, you know, what can you do about it? Well, you can shop at Barnes & Noble. They're not doing that. But this is awful. This is awful.
All right. Well, I disagree with you.
Really? Are you an author? You wouldn't disagree?
No, I think this is an example of a traditional industry that is fighting tooth and claw to maintain its position when the world is changing. And I think it's akin to the music industry suing their own customers. They're not, obviously, publish industry is not doing that, but I don't know. I'm not crying too much over the publishing industry. I think I would absolutely subscribe to $9.99 a month for. And by the way, it is live now. It's not. They're not testing it. They actually rolled it out for an ebook because I pay that much more than that a month. So you do have to keep in mind that this is limited. The titles are 600,000. That's a fraction of the entire library of that's on Amazon. Includes audiobooks, and there are publishers that aren't allowing, you know. So this will shake itself out, but I just think this is an industry, example of an industry in transition, and the old guard is fighting the old guard the way the old guard fights. So that's my take on it.
Boy, I couldn't disagree with you more. I mean, why would anybody now want to publish a book?
Well, the other aspect of this is that everybody needs to be a marketer now. I think if you want to be a musician, you have to be a marketer because you have the tools at your disposal to do your own marketing. And unless you have a huge record contract where they're doing all the marketing for you, most people don't. Then you need to be your own marketer. If you're an author, you need to be your own marketer. So
well, I agree with you to a certain degree, but not every author is a marketer. So what happens to them?
Well, they need to learn new skills. Oh. Everybody needs to learn new skills in this day and age. So,
well, I mean,
right, I disagree on that.
I would agree that publishers, you know, just are the worst marketers on the planet. And I, for a long time, thought that the publishing industry was a front for something else. Because what other excuse could there be for publishing all these books and then not promoting them?
Exactly.
So clearly, there's something going on with publishing. But yeah, we'll disagree on this, and we'll see how this shakes out. Meanwhile,
right,
I'm at Barnes & Noble.
Here's something that writers should be more concerned about than the battle between Amazon and traditional publishing companies is artificially intelligent written news stories. So if writers want to be concerned about becoming obsolete. Okay, there is a company called Quilt. That can turn tables of data into a natural language story that you can read as if it were a newspaper article. It's software that provides near instantaneous rendering of numerical data, sets of data, into prose without human supervision. It's an algorithm. It's a technology behind Game Changer, which is an app for amateur sports league to manually capture game events. And here's an example of the writing. So it takes the data that is collected from a sporting event and turns it out into a story. The Manalapan Braves Gargano was perfect at the dish, going 1 for 1. Gargano singled in the first inning. The Manalapan Braves tacked on another 4 runs in the second. The inning got off to a hot start when Bullen singled, bringing home Capola. That was followed by a score by Palici. After pushing across 2 runs in the top of the third, Hamilton A's faced just a 5-2 deficit. An RBI single by Benner and an error sparked Hamilton A's rally.
Wait.
Like a sports story. Yeah, it reads like a baseball story.
This is horrifying. The singularity has arrived too early.
Huh?
The singularity is here.
Yeah, exactly. So this reminds me of a Roald Dahl story that I read when I was in college, but it was published in 1954, called The Great Automatic Grammatizator, and it is a story basically about computers writing stories. So there you have it.
I'm really horrified. That really frightens me.
The writers have more worries than the fight between Amazon and their publishers.
I think we should go on to some good news.
Let me start off with one last. This is good or bad depending on your point of view. Okay, so it fits into both. Greenpeace brandjacked Legos. Okay, so recently Greenpeace did a animated video using Lego pieces to protest Lego's partnership with Shell Oil, in which they, and in the video, it's amazingly done. They had these Lego figures depicting a oil rig scene in idyllic scenes of nature, and then it all being drowned by oil, with the background of the song "Everything Is Awesome," and the title of the video is "Everything Is Not Awesome." And it's got millions of views, and it's just superly. I mean, if you want to attack a brand, this is how you do it. It's well done. It's executed flawlessly. So, depending on your point of view.
My point of view is that it's great. but you're saying that they brandjacked Legos, right?
Yeah, they absolutely did. Yep.
Has Legos complained?
What can they do? I mean, it's not. It's you know, I don't know. What is your response going to be?
Well, your response might be that, we didn't participate in this. I don't know. I mean, I think everything that Legos does is pretty spectacular. So.
Well, I mean, it is also an example of, so how do you attack a beloved brand? And this is how you do it. I mean,
Well, but they're not attacking Legos.
Yeah, they are. They are for their partnership with Shell Oil. So there is a partnership where they're branding some of their Legos with Shell brands. Apparently, as far as I could tell. So anyway.
Okay.
Let's go.
I'm talking about attacking brands. What happened was that a brand called Sir Richard's, which happens to make condoms, is offering free condoms in honor of World Population Day to employees of Hobby Lobby. And anybody who wants them, you just have to message Sir Richard's on Facebook and with your name and address, and they'll send you a free box of Sir Richard's condoms. And this is supported by paid posts in Facebook and LinkedIn, and they don't know how many requests they're going to get, but they said unless the numbers are astronomical, we're not checking to make sure they're Hobby Lobby employees, we're just trusting them. And on their first day, which was July 11th, they got 14 box requests, so it remains to be seen how this one's going to work out. But talk about newsjacking, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, it's a good PR play.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not it's going to, actually change anybody's behavior, I'm not sure. But what a good PR play! If you're gonna do newsjacking, that's a spectacular example of it. So the other thing that I found that I think is really just quite wonderful is that there's a San Francisco-based video promotion company that's called Viral, and they're launching a contest, the Race to Space. It's a hunt for the world's most creative minds, and you enter in the Race to Space by making videos, of course, because it's a a video company. And the prize is an all-expense paid trip on Virgin Galactic's very first commercial space flight, which happens to cost $250,000. So it's open to creative directors, to C-level executives, to company owners, to video producers, brand marketers, and they want to push the outer limits of imagination and launch the most original, what they're looking for, the most original space-themed video campaigns that could go, you know, boldly where no brand has gone before. I'm just so excited about that. I can't wait to see what people come up with. $250,000, pretty neat prize too.
Are you entering?
No, I'm not. I don't think I can match that competition, you know? I think I'm pretty pedestrian compared to that kind of competition.
Not last week, several weeks ago, a little while ago, we talked about the John Oliver's new show and how his rant against the FCC's stance on net neutrality or proposals on net neutrality brought the servers down for the FCC by sicking all the YouTube commenters after them. Well, this week the FCC, due to the amount of traffic they've gotten to their site, extended the comment period to the end of the week. So early in the week they extended it to Friday so people would have more time to comment on their net neutrality proposals, among which are paid prioritization of favored traffic, so allowing people to, brands or people with deep pockets, to get better internet traffic than the rest of us, which is the main issue. There's been a lot of discussion on the FCC site, so there's a lot of interest. Obviously, people are sort of dismayed with this idea, and the FCC comment count on net neutrality has reached 780,000 comments. So
I'm surprised there's not more.
Now, thank you, John Oliver, though, for bringing up the the issue.
It's a great issue. So I don't actually have any more news. I have some apps. What about you?
Let me run through two more before we get to the apps.
Okay.
I'll start with the rise of wedding drones. So drones are in our future. Amazon wants to deliver with drones, or at least they want to get some PR value out of delivering with drones. They did ask the FCC for permission to test drone delivery on their own property. So that was what we talked about last week. But this week there's a story on Quartz about people using quadricopter drones to shoot photos of their photos and video of their weddings. And there is, in fact, a New York representative, Sean Patrick Maloney, who hired a local videography company to operate a drone to get aerial shots and video of his wedding in New York's Hudson Valley. Maloney sits on the House Transportation Infrastructure Aviation Subcommittee, which oversees the FAA, which prohibits the use of drones for commercial purposes. So the FAA has they don't have much enforcement power for this, but it is, it's an issue that it's going to have to be addressed. Currently, it's illegal to use drones for commercial purposes, but people are using them individually, and obviously people are using them commercially. And how do you prohibit people from doing it? I just think we're going to have a policy adjustment soon.
Well, wedding's hardly a commercial purpose.
Well, when you hire the videographer is getting paid to do the wedding video using a drone, so that's the commercial purpose.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean,
that's the argument. That's the argument.
The argument.
So, lastly,
arguments out there, Dave.
Lastly, LinkedIn bought Newsle, and I think I talked about Newsle a while ago. It's a service that connects your LinkedIn account, Facebook account, Twitter followers, and send you an email when anybody you follow is in the news, cited in a news article, so you can follow up with them. It's a great relationship building app, and so LinkedIn bought it, and I expect that to see integrated into LinkedIn soon, so you probably get notifications of when somebody you're connected to on LinkedIn shows up in the news, and good for them.
I think that was a smart move on their part, but LinkedIn has to do something about their notification policies because they're very annoying. And, there doesn't seem to be at this moment a way to turn off all these notifications. And this whole thing with the drive-by, I want to connect with you because you're someone I trust and it's someone you never heard of, and I want to add you, and I always just write back and say, what makes you trust me? How do we know each other? And 9 out of 10 times you don't get an answer. But one answer I got last week was that guy said his account had been hacked and invitations had been sent to a lot of people that he didn't know. And I never hear back from people who send these. It makes me wonder how much of that is going on. I mean, I'm just not thrilled with LinkedIn, as you know.
Well, that's a user issue. That's not necessarily LinkedIn. I mean, maybe they need to figure out how to address that, but that's people not knowing how to use LinkedIn. That's
well, well, they need to address that. That's the point, So, can we go to apps?
Let's do that.
Okay, so I found something called Jammcard, which is kind of like LinkedIn for musicians. And instead of using Craigslist or SoundCloud or Bandcamp to find musicians, for your band or to whatever you need them for, you can go to Jammcard and you can organize links into audio and video files, and you can have an events calendar for upcoming events, and users can exchange jam cards by scanning a QR code, and it's available in the iTunes store now for iOS. And you can add someone to your chain, which is a list of people that you work with regularly or that you approve of, and then you can follow them for updates on their schedule. And so if you're looking for anybody to join a band or that you want to join a band, this is a really good app for you to take a look at. Probably something you'd like, Dave.
Absolutely. That's very cool.
Yeah, and I found another one that I thought was really cool, which is kind of like the H&R Block of divorces. It's called WeVorce, and it's for online, for what was it called? Conscious uncoupling. This is so now you can not only find the love of your life online, you can divorce them online, and the average cost of a divorce in this country is like $27,000, and you can do it online with WeVorce for a mere 10 grand.
Wow. Wow.
What have you got, Dave?
I just got one, and it's awesome. Death to Stock Photo. deathtothestockphoto.com. deathtothestockphoto.com. This is a website. You just go to it, you subscribe to it, and they send you every month a set of free high-quality photos that they email to you. So this is stock photography that doesn't look like stock photography. They're very good photos, high quality, and you can start building your own library for photography use. So great for bloggers and anybody who's creating content online. But very, very cool site.
Copyright free, and does it cost anything?
Free, in both senses.
Well, I don't know. I'm not thrilled about that either. I mean, what about photographers and getting paid? I'm just not too happy with this turn of events. Speaking of photography, the selfie trend, which is so completely out of hand, I actually saw an ad that was talking about like having your butt made smoother in case you were taking selfies of your butt. Really, but now you can have your selfie on a piece of toast, and you can have your selfie and eat it too. There's a company called the Vermont Novelty Toaster Company, and they have this line of toasters. Like you take a selfie, and then the image is burned into your toast, and you don't have to be famous, and you don't have to be Jesus to have your face on toast, says the founder of the company on their site. You just have to give them a high-res photo of your face or your pet, and their toast engineers create, as they call them, fun breakfast memories. And so it's $75, and they ship it free of charge if you want a toaster that has a picture of whomever on it.
The perfect gift for the narcissist in your life.
And God knows there are a lot of those.
All right, well, let's wrap this. Let's go into the daily numbers this week. I've got how organizations handle content development. This is from Ipsos, OTX, and the Association for National Advertisers. It's a sample among the sample is among their members. They're this member organization. So. So how organizations handle content development, dedicated social media leader, 44% said they had a dedicated social media leader that handled their content development. 42% cited the public relations department is handling their content development. 42% said they'd engaged in an external agency to handle their content development. 37% had dedicated social media team to handle their content development. 27% had an in-house agency. 12% cited a media department. So it's interesting how people are sort of who's assigning content and what skills do you need. They don't have definition of social media leader or social media team, but it seems to me that content developers need to be a higher order than just social media. That you need to understand audiences, you need to understand who you're trying to talk to, you need to understand how content works beyond just the channels that they're using to distribute it, right? Lastly, one last piece of data on this survey is 66% of the respondents don't conduct consumer research or to plan or test their content. So it calls into question one of the fundamental tenets of marketing is, do you understand your audience? I mean, do you know what content your audience values if you're not doing the research to understand that, right?
That's frightening, really. I mean, you know, I know that a lot of companies use journalists to write content. It's called brand journalism, and they pay paltry sums to these people to do it. At least they're using writers, but, you know, it's really frightening that, oh jeez, that sort of thing is happening. And
well, who needs writers? We've got algorithms for that deal. So I think that wraps it, right?
that does. I just was trying to get rid of the ringing phone, so why don't you wrap it up?
I will. Okay, so that ends another edition of the Beyond Social Media show. My name is David Erickson. You can reach me at D-Erickson on Twitter, at e-strategyblog.com, and you can reach BL at What's Next on Twitter, at what'snextblog.com. She writes for Ad Age, writes a column for Ad Age, and you can also find her at maximum-plus.com for all things Google+. Until next week, thanks for watching.
Thank you.